Welcome to Walk the Line. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. I know what time it is. Week 4 in the DML, and I'm here to provide you with those golden picks. Now, last week, man, my co-host, Marizi, managed to come on the show, man, and gave it right to me, locking him up for the Week 3 golden picks, out picking the OG pick for pick. This week, I'm joined by my co-host, Eddie, the owner of the Houston Texans. What's going on, Eddie?
OG was good.
All right, man, so last week I took a loss, man, so I'm looking to get back to 500. Ready to go pick for pick?
Yeah, you gotta look to get that dub next week, not this week, brother.
All right, let's dive into it. First up, we got Solomon Kane and the Tennessee Titans versus your Houston Texans. Now, you managed to secure the victory. Y'all came out at home. Y'all balled out, securing y'all 42-28 victory. Now, I seen the game. I watched it. The question I have for you, because I'm noticing it, but it's still early on in the season. Deshaun Watson, what's going on, man? He's high up there in the turnovers. He just finished his game with 5 turnovers. Is that a big question mark? Because I know you're a guy who loves to take care of the ball on the offensive side of the ball.
I mean, it's one of those things where I changed my playbook in the offseason. Just trying to get used to it. And I'm forcing passes, to be honest. Not letting the game come to me. But I think that as the season progresses, I'll be all right. Stop forcing balls in the coverage, because that's really what it is. I mean, some of them are great plays by users, but a lot of it is forced balls in the coverage, bad reads. And I guess as you become familiar with your playbook, or me, rather, as I get more familiar with the plays in this book, and I become more comfortable with it, that number will come down for sure.
Okay. All right, man. Moving on, we got KP of the Kansas City Chiefs versus Andy in the Las Vegas Raiders. This was another game that was already played, and the Raiders managed to lock in the W. However, same thing, man. We're gonna come to you on this one. Do you think that the way KP's playing right now, is it more of him too much being pass happy? Because Patrick Mahomes, another game throwing over 3 interceptions and being sacked over 5 times. Do you think that it's too much of KP being more pass happy and not having a balanced style game? Or is it just that his offensive line sucks that's making these defenses that's coming up against this high-powered Kansas City Chiefs offense making them look mediocre?
I think what it is, just from talking to him personally and looking at his games that he's played overall, I would say it's neither, actually. He's been a user who's been pass happy throughout the cycle. Okay. It's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. Some games he's gonna come out up top with that mentality. Some games he isn't. But the thing that's killing him, I think, this year is that he has no pass rush. In the offseason, Aaron Donald retired on him. And I know from talking to him, he's trying to get that pass rush back. And he can't get stopped. You can't give up 52 points and think you're going to beat anybody. So I think for him, it's more so trying to figure it out on that side of the field, because if he can get more stops, we all know that offense is super explosive. He can put up points week by week.
Okay, all right. So moving on, we got the Bus and the Chicago Bears versus Omatic and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, if we're going off of last week's performance from the Chicago Bears team, which I think, even though they didn't manage to get the W, it was a good game overall for the Chicago Bears, minus the turnovers, but they managed to hold Tony Pollard, who's by far one of the most dangerous running backs in the DML, to under 100-yard rushing and 0 rushing touchdowns. Okay, I think that he should take and build off of that, coming into a matchup with a struggling Minnesota Vikings team who loves to turn the ball over. I'm not going to waste your time on this pick. I'm locked in with the Bears getting the W going into week 4. What's your thoughts on this game? Who you going with?
This is an easy one for me. I'm going with the Bears as well. You look at Bus, he's a user who likes to run the ball, and when he could keep the turnovers low, he could beat anybody. And when you look at Omatic and the Vikings, they're trying to find a win, but this won't be the week to do it.
All right, moving on. We got Vitamin and the Los Angeles Chargers versus Sweets and Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is 2 users who still early on in the season. They starting out the gate a little bit sluggish. Vitamin sitting at 1-2, and I believe Sweets is sitting at 1-2 also. This matchup right here is going to come down to what user can get their mojo going fast out the gates, okay? Because Vitamin, a lot of people are starting to figure out that this team is one-dimensional. However, his superstar young wide receiver is sidelined due to injury for 7 more weeks. But I think that Vitamin still has the weapons on the offensive side of the ball outside of Austin Eckler and Ty Gurley in that strong run game, to come out and play a little bit more balanced. I think that he's too much of a run, turning into too much of a run first team, and just guys are figuring it out and are stacking 8 in the box and putting the pressure on his quarterback to win him some games. I think if he could come out in this matchup with a more well-balanced scheme, because his defense has the weapons like Joey Bosa. What's my man name? The strong Sam's.
He got
Derwin James, who can cause turnovers on the offensive side of on the defensive side of the ball, put this offense in the best position on the field to score. But I think that he just has to come out on the offense side a little bit more balanced. Sweets, I just feel like the Cardinals have had a tougher first half schedule. Okay, so when you're sitting there and you're coming into a season, you got those juggernaut teams like the Packers, the 49ers out the gate, it tends to, sometimes slow up what you want to have going on. But I think that this is a team that can switch the gear very fast, because he has weapons on the offensive side and the defensive side. With Pete Manning, who's playing lights out, I believe he's 4th right now in total lead sacks. So I think that if he can figure out how to just get things going into the right direction, this is the matchup right here perfectly for him. I'm locked in with the Cardinals on this one, just because I feel like the way that Vitamin has been playing, guys are figuring out that he's one-dimensional, and he's going to have to force guys to respect his passing game. So I'm locked in with the Cardinals getting a W going into Week 5. What's your thoughts for this game, and who you going with?
This is an easy one for me. For Vitamin, I wouldn't wish to beat him this week. I think the Cards against Kyler Murray and Javier Sidney back off suspension this week. And I think that he's going to try to make up for those weeks that they were on the bench. When you have an explosive offense like that can put up points, and like you said, you're looking at a team with Vitamin, and the league knows he's going to run the ball. Certain users here at this point of the cycle, we know what they do. Vitamin's going to run the ball. He doesn't necessarily have a threat right now in the receiving core that scares you. So guys are able to stack the box. And I think that I'll take Sweets in this one. By 14.
Oh, by 14. The Vegas line had just opened up to Sweets in the Cards minus 14. Vitamin, put that chip on your shoulder, man. Moving on, we got Bino in the Detroit Lions versus Tony and the Patriots. I'm telling guys, week after week after week after week after week, when you play against this Detroit team, okay, you have to get your secondary ready. You need to have these guys in the film room studying, trying to figure out how to slow down one man and one man only on this Detroit offense. That is Curtis Samuel. If you allow this guy, like last week, okay, to wreck your defense, he will do it. Last week, this guy had a total of 197 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Okay? You got to make someone on this Detroit offense beat you. You cannot let this guy have one-on-one coverage. You need to triple team him. I mean, put a safety over the top, your best cornerback on him, and use her a linebacker just to run down the field wherever he's going at, to make this guy a non-factor. Because if you allow this guy to come out single coverage, it's going to be a very long day for you. It's going to be a very long day. All right, and Bino right now is just figuring out how to get this guy the ball, and the defenses are allowing this man to get off because he's sitting at a comfortable 3-0 right now. All right, since Tom Brady has retired from this New England Patriots team, they've been trying season after season, trying to put the right guys in this offensive system and this defensive system, and it just has not been working out. Do you think that the way that this New England Patriots organization is right now, are they the doormat team of the DML?
Oh, absolutely not. I would say that at this point, I would call them one of the more lower tier users, on the borderline of mediocre. But I wouldn't call them the worst user. There's certainly guys that are doing worse than him. In fact, he has won his division. When I look at this matchup, though, and for this week, not to jump ahead of you, I'm looking at the offenses. And when you look at Tone and his offense, they're averaging 9 points a game, 9.3 points. And that's just not going to cut it. Bino comes in on the other side, averaging 32.3. So I look for this to be a win for the Lions going away, just because with Tone, when your offense isn't clicking like that, most times if you have an elite defense, it can keep you in games. But when you look at his defense as well, it's also one of those that's towards the bottom of the league in production or middle of the pack. So it won't get it done this week against the Lions. Give me the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you, too, just over the fact of that the points, man. The offense is putting up 9, and the defense is giving up 37. That's just not going to work in the DML, period. I don't care if you're playing against the worst team in the DML. I'm not going to mention who they are, but I'm just saying. So I think that this is the best fit for the Lions this week with that pass. The way that his secondary is playing on the defense side of the ball, they're ranked 25th in the DML, so I think Curtis Samuel is going to come out and have another explosive game, keeping the Detroit Lions in the best position to make a deep playoff run. Moving on, we got...
Oh my God. He's shit everywhere. My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you already knew what it was when it was on the card. The shit bowl game. We have HBO and the struggling Baltimore Ravens versus Taz and the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to let you take lead on this one, man. This is my division mates, and these guys are struggling, man. So I'm going to let you take lead on this. What's your thoughts on this matchup right here?
When you look at this matchup between Taz and HBO, I think that records always go out the window. Whether one side is doing really well or the other isn't. In this case, they're both struggling. I think Taz takes these matchups personally. No one wants that HBO video in the chat, and I know Taz certainly doesn't. This is a matchup that I think will be close. When you look at both users, both need a win. They're both in almost panic mode. This is an important game for the both of them, and I look for both of them to come out and lay it all on the line.
So who you going with on this one, man? What's your pick?
This is crazy. Oh, man. My heart is telling me Taz. But I think you're going to go Taz. And we just got to figure this out. So this pains me to say, bro. Give me HBO.
Yo, listen, man. I'm going to tell you right here, man.
Give me HBO, man.
I can't take HBO. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. When you finish a game in a tie with one of the bottom, the second, it's another user who's 32, and I believe, even though Darkness has put some W's together this season, he is, I'm going to say, 30th in the DML as one of the worst users right now, okay? When you tie a game with a guy like that, I think it's a mental thing. Your mind become mentally trapped, and that haunts you week after week after week after week. Because we all know we got those games on the schedule, but we automatically circle. This is a W. This is a W. This is a W. So in my opinion, when HBO seen that the Denver Broncos was on his schedule, he circled that as a guaranteed win. When that game, the last second on that game hit 0, and he seen that scoreboard as a tie, his mind became mentally trapped with the haunting of him tying with one of the worst DML users this cycle. I think that Taz has his number, and I just can't see him shaking it, man. It's just some things you can shake and some things you can't. So with my pick, I'm going with Taz and the Cincinnati Bengals getting a W going into week 5. Moving on, we got the Schemer and the New York Jets versus Skill Trade and the Buffalo Bills. This is another game, man. I'm going to follow your lead on this one. What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Oh, man. Schemer. Interesting dude, man. But looking at the matchup, this isn't even hard for me, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Give me Schemer. Roster's better, stick skills better. Overall understanding of his playbook and production on the field has been better. This is the Jets in a blowout.
All right, I gotta go with you. Same thing. I'm locked in with the Jets. He managed to come out and beat down Vitamin and the Chargers last week, and I think he's playing with a little bit of more chip on his shoulder after catching all that fire and heat in the chat. All right, I think the way that guys was coming for him, it added a little fire, added some more fire to this season. You know how some guys, they come in, they enter a season, they want to put the best game plan together, and they try to feed off their self-motivation. I think when he caught that fire in the chat for making the trades that he made, it put a little extra spark on his season and made him more motivated to come out and win. The Bills, I feel bad for y'all this week because your defense is struggling. You got a quarterback who's turnover happy. You're not running the ball well. Give me the Jets. Getting the W, like you said, blowout win, moving on. Next up, we got SJ and the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the big homie in Indianapolis Colts. Two division mates, man. What's your thoughts on this game right here?
Oh, this is the Cousin Bowl, kin versus kin for bragging rights. Another one that I think is going to be a blowout, if you ask me. The Jags have the top-tier run game. He's going to run it down your throat no matter what, and he has, in my opinion, arguably the best defense in the DML on paper. When you look at all the playmakers that he has on that side of the ball, at times all you got to do is hold up and in coverage, and either Lawrence or Allen is going to get after your quarterback. And if you try to run the ball on him, he has a plethora of guys defensively that are flying to the ball. So for me, another easy one. I'd be shocked if he doesn't win by 17 plus. I'm going with the Jags.
Yeah, I'm locked in with the Jags, who just has a simple fact of the things you just mentioned. When you have four guys or more, 4 guys or plus at superstar X factor on your defense side of the ball, that's scary. Okay, and when you have 2 of those guys that are blasting off of the edge, that is scary. When you have 2 guys who could just drop back into coverage and lock up any wide receiver in the DML at any given day, that is scary. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars coming out, beating the Indianapolis Colts on the road by, I'm going to say 21 plus. Moving on, we got under 2 rated in the Washington Redskins versus Westside Pablo and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, man, I don't know what's going on. This season just seems to be going down the toilet very fast for the Eagles. I don't know if this due to the lack of play calling, but this is not the Westside Pablo that I've grown accustomed to seeing. However, the Redskins right now, they're balling out, and a big reason why is because of the way that Geis is playing. This guy is running like a man on a mission, like he's trying to compete for the MVP race right now. I like the way that the Redskins is playing. They played each other in, I believe, 2 weeks ago, I believe.
2 weeks ago.
The Redskins managed to get the W. I don't see nothing changing in this matchup. The Redskins has the formula to beating this Philadelphia Eagles team. I don't care if they on the road in outer space. Redskins getting the W going into week 5. What's your thoughts for this matchup right here?
I got the Redskins as well. When you look at that week 2 matchup, the Redskins won going away 45-14. And I think that just in short time, nothing's going to change. Score might get a little closer, but I think when we look at Westside, for me, I feel like he's at the point where he has playbook fatigue. Just from talking to him, I know that he was thinking about changing his coach and his playbook, and he might be at the point where he's just ready to get done with that thing, and it's showing on the field. Usually, he's able to put together productive games and be competitive. But overall, I mean, let's be honest, we saw him lose to Flair last week. Not many people throughout the cycle can say that they've had that accomplishment, but Westside's in a downward spiral right now. So give me the Redskins easy.
Moving on, we got Flair and the Rams versus JB and the Seattle Seahawks. This is a must-win for the Seahawks, okay? Like you just mentioned, nobody wants to lose to Flair, okay? I'm just being honest. So in my pick, I'm taking JB, getting the W at home. What's your thoughts on this game? Who you going with?
I'm going with JB as well. He also, for my money's worth, yields on paper a top 5 to 10 defense. X factor rushers. If you need one, he got him. In Chester, he has Clowney now, X factor. He has that player he drafted a year ago, House, who's one. He has Justin Reed roaming that secondary with that speed. JB has a lot of pieces on that side of the ball that will allow him, for my money's worth, to win very easily this week, as long as he takes care of the ball. When you look at JB, his issue isn't anything other than taking care of the ball for the most part. And when he does that, he can stay competitive with anybody.
Moving on, we got Bruce and the Cleveland Browns versus my Pittsburgh Steelers. This game right here, it's going to come down to, I I have to figure out the Browns play caller, okay? Because him getting that Baltimore Ravens playbook has opened up his game play as far as on the offensive side of the ball to create and keep you guessing all game. So I like the way that Bruce has been playing. However, my quarterback, he's throwing the ball better. He's putting guys in the end zone, but he's still turning it over. So my defense, number one, I need Bush, I need Evans, I need Khalil Mack, I need Denard Boss, I need Stilly to all be playing flat out, lights out football. Because when you're playing against a team like the Browns, you gotta cause turnovers. You gotta knock these guys out of rhythm. You can't allow him to get his run game going. You can't, with him acquiring Hollywood Brown, you cannot allow him or Paris Campbell, and I forget the other guy, Shard. You can't allow these guys to get going, because if you do, you're going to be in a heck of a long game, flat out. So my guys on the defense side of the ball have to figure out how to come out and knock these guys out of rhythm from the gate. And my quarterback and my running game have to get going. I never pick against myself. I'm taking my Steelers getting a W after getting swept by the Browns last season. Coming out with some extra fire this week. What's your thoughts on this game and who you going with?
This matchup should be one that's really good, as it always is. Like you said, when you look at the Browns, he always finds creative ways to play offense. New plays, new gadget plays, whether it's sweeps, whether it's a read option. That playbook's a really fun playbook to play with, and I think he's starting to get his bearings with it. Like you said, for me, it's about trying to confuse him and try to come away with turnovers in order to win that game. But I'm going to take the Browns in this one, in a close one. He has a top 10 offense when you look at his offense and in terms of total production, and that defense has playmakers all over it. So for this week, in a close one, give me the Browns.
All right, moving on, we got Richie and the New York Giants versus Marlo and the Carolina Panthers. This week, I believe the Giants get their starting quarterback back and they get Saquon Barkley back, I believe, right? So This game right here, the Panthers, you have the 7th ranked run defense in the DML. This is going to be the week that it will be tested to the max, because you got Saquon Barkley, who's coming in with some fresh legs, and you still have that 94 speed running back and Kelly back there, who just seems to know how to just make explosive run after explosive run. So the Panthers are going to have to come out, man, as a complete unit on the defense side of the ball and manage to control this New York Giants run game. However, you're getting both backs back this week, man. I'm going with the Giants getting a W, grounding and pounding, potentially breaking the DML rushing game record in this one. What's your thoughts on this game? Who you going with?
Oh, in this game, it was a tough one for me when I was looking at the matchup on paper. When you look at it, it's a matchup where both of the users, in my opinion, are even when you're talking about stick skills, and they have potential to be very competitive. But what does it for me is that monster in the backfield named McKinley, and then to top it all off, you have a guy like Saquon Barkley to come in and spell him. That run game, I faced it myself in week 2, and it's hard as hell to stop. I'll be honest with you. I know that jokers come in sometimes and they say, well, you know what a guy wants to do already, and you stop that, you'll beat him. But I knew what he wanted to do, and it's just tough, man. He has really good players in spots, and they're making plays. So give me the Giants.
Okay, moving on to the DML game of the week. Okay, it was Nasty Noop and Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, these guys actually played each other. The Saints managed to blow the doors off of this one, winning by 21 points. Now, let's just break down this game right here. These are two teams who don't like each other. Two users who are constantly going at it in the chat. What was your thoughts on this game after you watched it and just sat back and just watched? What was your thoughts on this matchup?
I wasn't shocked. I think that overall, when you look at where both of these teams are heading, Dion's still trying to find an identity. When he's been the most successful, it's been in the run game, when he could get his tailbacks to lead his offenses and passing spells. He's finding himself in trouble because he hasn't been able to be productive in that run game, and then he's forced to pass. And it's no surprise that Jimmy G has led the league in picks a lot of years. I like the defense that he has over there in Atlanta. He's built it well, but you can't put yourself in a hole when you're turning the ball over. When you look at Maurizi on the other side, I think he's going in a totally different direction in terms of the roster he's built. He's built a monster on defense. There's a number of players on that side of the ball that he has that many of us in the league would covet to have. And he's for the most part taking care of the ball. He's figured out that if you run the ball and you have an elite defense, you can be in games with anybody. So no shock to me.
Yeah, this game, like I said, it is. Maurizi said it on the last show. We could figure out how to stop the Atlanta Falcons run game and force them to pass the ball. But it's sad to say, when you say force a guy to pass the ball, right? You want to think like, okay, this guy has some washed up wide receiver. He has Calvin Ridley, who in my opinion still has something in the tank. He has superstar X Factor wide receiver who some entering up to the point when he was drafted to Atlanta Falcons said he has a similar style like Julio Jones, to the point where they even blessed him with the number 11. Okay, so it's mind-boggling to me when a guy say you have to take away a guy's rushing attack in order to beat them, when you have guys like this as far as the wide receiver group who's shown in the past that they can produce. I think it boils down to one thing and one thing only, and that's the play call. Because you have to figure out, no matter who you are, no matter how much talent you have in the roster, to put guys in the best position to make plays. So when you got a guy like Deion Collins, Calvin Ridley, solid run game, and Jimmy G, even though Jimmy G's not the best quarterback, but I believe the way how some of these quarterbacks are playing right now in the DML, some guys will be blessed to have him on their roster. So I think that it comes down to play calling. Nancy Newton has to figure out how to get these guys in the best position to make plays. But this was a game that I knew that Maurizi was going to win after that smoke and that fire that was boiling up in the chat. I knew that neither one of these guys wanted to come out and lose this one, but Maurizi managed to come out and blew the doors off of this one from the gate. So y'all got all the golden picks. Y'all got the recap of the DML game of the week. Drop a comment, man. Let us know what y'all think as far as what are the lock picks for this week. What's your thoughts on the game of the week, on how Nancy Newton and Atlanta Falcons could have played better to secure them a W? I'm your host, OG Chris Murray. I appreciate you jumping on the show. We out.